What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new episode of TAETRO Talks. I'm stoked to be here with you today on this Tuesday, as we normally do on Tuesdays here on my channel and on the 343 Labs channel. So if you don't know, 343 Labs has daily live streaming shows on youtube.com/343labs, where there's like an Ableton show on Monday with an amazing Ableton Certified Trainer, Claire Marie Lim, artist named dolltr. Maybe some of you saw the collaboration we did. Tuesdays, obviously, is TAETRO Talks. Wednesdays is all about the hybrid home studio. Thursdays is Theory Thursday, which is a really good show for a lot of you if you want to move away from technical stuff, but it's theory taught in Ableton Live. And then, of course, Fridays, which is production basics, breaking things down to the basics. Cell Waste Techno Saturdays, a monthly mixing show, something for everybody on 343 TV. So I know some of you are watching on my channel and in my chat, and I think that's great. Thank you. But if you are over in the 343 Labs chat, special thanks to you all. That's John H. Kingston, Andrew Duke, and Prod by Elon. What is going on? I'm so thankful that you guys are watching over on 343. Not to say I'm not thankful for all you folks watching over here on my channel. Just wanted to do that shout out at the top. So you should be reminded that every single day you can tune into some cool tutorial live stream content. All that. I see lots of folks joining today. Today is going to be a call-in show if you're unfamiliar. Sometimes on this show we have interviews with like really great guests, like we had Adam Ivy on last week, and that was a great chat about music marketing. We've had Gnarly Beats, who's a really amazing finger drummer, Sarah the Instrumentalist, Sanjay C. A lot of really amazing guests on this show. It's hard to remember them all. And we'll be having guests for the rest of the month, I believe, too. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, today is a call-in show, meaning that you can call me up on Zoom, which I'm putting the Zoom link into the chat right now. You can call me up and you can get in on the Zoom call. It doesn't put you in right away, so don't worry. You click that link, you get put into a waiting room. We've got some folks in there already. I'm stoked for that. And you get put into a waiting room, I bring you in, and then everybody will be able to hear you, but don't worry, they won't be able to see you in case you're like self-conscious or worried about like being on stream. I would love, there's some of you that are showing up to like a lot of streams, but have never called into a call-in show before. So I think it would be amazing if some of you first-timers could call in today. But it's as simple as clicking that link if you've got Zoom downloaded. Make sure that when I do take your call that you lower the volume of the stream and you're just listening through Zoom. Make sure your Zoom mic and speaker situation is all settled, because that usually causes some technical issues. But hello, there's so many nice people in the chat. I'm probably not going to be able to rattle off names like I usually do, but what's going on? Cordy Boy Now, who's the first one here. The YOLO Bros, what's going on? Beisha Rivera, my guy Hayden, what's up Hayden? E-Chains. My mom is here, of course. Saharsh, Blaze Gaming. Blaze, that is an aggressive font. What's good? Remco, hello. Saying something about the splice code. The splice code expired at the end of October, unfortunately. So if you didn't get it throughout the month, that is an issue. Tiago is here. Tiago, long time no see. Thank you for coming and stopping by the stream. Samuel Messiah, I'm sure we'll have a great segment with Samuel today. Thanks for being here. RevSaves, hold it down as a mod. Thank you. Very much appreciated. RevSabes always calls me Lad, which I like. I like that. Valguna, what's up? What's up? Nova Beats, hello. Did I say hello to Beisha already? I hope so. What's up, Beisha? And I'm losing track of who I've said hello to and who I haven't said hello to, but I'm sorry. I hope you all like this stream audio quality with this new Shure SM7B recent upgrade. First stream with the SM7B. Kenna is here. Hello. I see a lot of questions in the chat. I definitely will take questions in the chat. I prefer you to call in, though. We do have some folks waiting, and I want to jump right in because we can't be on call all day. We'll go for as long as we can, though. Mayan, Max Music. Who didn't I say hello to yet? Raj, what's going on, dude? Nice to see you. A lot of people saying hi in the chat. Thank you all. And as you have questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to take calls, then I'll bounce back and forth between calls and the chat, etc., etc. If you feel like it and you have an Instagram, if you want to like record yourself like watching the stream, like watching TAETRO, y'all should tune in, like help promote the show, that would be amazing. And if you tag me at TAETRO in your story, I will then go ahead and put that on my story later, and usually like people from my profile will click into other people's profiles. So it's kind of like a cool little hack if you're trying to get a little bit of exposure, but you also want to help me promote the show. So just tag me at TAETRO, being like, hey, tuning in for TAETRO Talks. use a hashtag, tag me, all that good stuff. Francesco's like an OG mod for the channel. Francesco, I'm doing great. I would love to know how you are doing. It has been a very long time. I think we got to get into some calls. What I need from you all is to hopefully tell me how the call level versus my voice level is. So I want to grab some of these folks in chat. Hang tight if you are in that waiting room. Don't worry, I will get to you. If we start getting towards the end of the show and I feel like I'm not going to be able to take every call, then that's fine. Once again, I'm dropping that Zoom link in here. And Sammy Gamer just joined us. Hello. All right, so I'm going to grab these from the top in order that they appear, I believe. So Aswan, I'm bringing you on to the show. Sarang, yes, I see you in the waiting room. Don't worry. I will let you in when it's your turn. No problem. But we're going to take our first call today. Aswan, how are you? Can you hear me?
Hey, TAETRO.
Oh, perfect. You can hear me. Make sure you are listening through Zoom and not the stream, because it'll be slightly delayed. Awesome. Hello, where are you calling in from? Aswan, am I saying that correctly?
Yes, Aswan.
Aswan, welcome. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Bangladesh.
Amazing. Across the world. That's what I love about this show. What do you got for me? What's your question today?
I just noticed it was for like a home studio setup kind of thing.
Totally.
So I thought I should watch it. I started out as a keyboard learner at a very young age, and I've worked as a studio artist, and I'm looking forward to produce my own music within December. So I thought it would be very helpful for me.
Awesome. I think it is going to be helpful for you, especially if you're new to the channel. I just did like a minimalist bedroom video, like a very simple setup. What kind of setup you got at home? You got a good setup?
I haven't really started building my home studio yet. It's due in December. I'm still collecting some things and stuff.
Great. Well, as your process like grows and as you start building that setup, and December is coming quickly, we'll probably have more call-in shows between now and then. So make sure you call in as you run into questions, and then you can always leave comments on my videos. I try to answer questions as much as possible, but also like my videos answer a lot of questions. So check out the videos too. But thank you for calling in.
Thank you very much for letting me talk to you, TAETRO.
Of course. Excited for you and your journey. Good luck, my friend. Check in with us soon.
I sure will.
Have a good one.
Have fun.
Let's keep it rolling. Sarang, I know you're anxious to get into the calls today. Let's get into it. Folks, join the waiting room. A lot of you, first time, have never called, but have been in the stream so many times. Jump in that Zoom call, click that link. And we're going to get Sarang here on the chat. Sarang did not connect to audio, unfortunately. Sarang, you got to figure out your mic situation. I'm going to throw you back in the waiting room. Just figure out your audio. You kind of want to look in the bottom left-hand corner of Zoom, and you will figure it out. It's actually, this is going to be an earlier time for this segment, but we have a guest that likes to call into the show quite often. He's a young man, smart young man from across the world in the UAE. And he's always got a lot to say. So we kind of gave him his own segment, and he's going to introduce himself right now.
Hello, my name is Samuel. This is my segment, Samuel Says.
Samuel, I want to congratulate you on your progress in Beattober, because your Beattober beats were fire. And not only were the beats fire, but the videos were great as well. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's going on?
It's literally pure effort.
It's pure effort. You're 100% right. It's hard work. It's effort. It's putting in the time, and it's like working smarter, not harder, right? Like as you did that, I'm sure you found easier ways to do things along the way, like whether that came down to video production or music production. When you have that challenge, it forces you to do things smarter, you know?
Yeah, and I'm newer to PCs, so I learned some shortcuts on the way and stuff like that.
Awesome.
It's very, very nice.
Fantastic. What do you got for me this week, Samuel?
Few questions, few comments, like very minimal. It's gonna be a short segment, but let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking around Amazon as usual for interfaces because I'm still like looking around for the best deals.
Sure.
I think I decided on getting a Scarlet Solo and
Yes, good
the
choice.
MXL 440 mic.
Cool.
I don't know if that would be a good combination, but yeah.
Everything Focusrite is great. Like I've used Focusrite gear for a very long time, and it's very like budget friendly as well. It's budget friendly without a lot of sacrifices. So I think the Solo will be great. If you are looking for the best deal, Black Friday is coming up, and like I don't have any insider knowledge, but all that stuff, there's usually sales either from the brands themselves or from the retailers too. So everybody should be looking out for that. If you're buying a piece of gear in November, it is worth waiting till like Black Friday, which for those maybe non-Americans, I don't know if they have Black Friday everywhere. It's like a Thanksgiving related thing, but it's the Friday after American Thanksgiving. So check that out if you want to make some sales. The only thing that I say be cautious about is that MXL mic. I've used MXL mics in the past, and they are very budget friendly. They are pretty inexpensive, but quality not so great. Like, how much is that mic that you're looking at?
250 dirhams, around like $70-$80. No, wait, let me think. Yeah, I think around $70-$60.
That would make sense. I would look around for like if Audio Technica has any like $100 options, because I think that is going to be a bit ahead of where the MXL mics are. Just take a look. It might be worth spending like an extra $20 or so to get stuff from a brand that has a bit higher quality stuff. That's just my suggestion.
The thing is, the prices compared to like the US from here, they're like hugely inflated.
Yeah.
Like if something that's for like $100, 3.6, like you have to times it by 3.6. It becomes like 500 here with like inflation and taxes, and I don't know what.
Yeah.
It becomes very pricey.
That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, at the end of the day, what I always say, it's like the best tools that you can afford in the moment. So it doesn't matter if, MXL, you'll do fine with it. Even if I don't think it's the best, it'll be great.
Okay. Next question.
Let's get it.
MacBook fans. They're so
loud. So like if some of you saw my Beattober beat where I did vocals on it and I was like in the bed, like making a beat and then singing, like if you isolate just the guitar channel on that, you can super hear the laptop fan. It's so crazy. Like even right now, y'all probably can't hear it because this mic does a pretty good job. But yes, MacBook fans are super loud. Are you struggling with that?
I mean, the other day I was trying to record vocals, and like a compression, EQ, I tried all that. It removed the MacBook fan's noise, but it also removed like some nuances of my voice.
Yes, of course. That's always going to be the struggle. And actually, compression is going to make the noise a little bit worse, because compression, even if the noise is faint in the background, compression's job is to kind of bring the levels all closer together, bring the soft sounds louder, bring the loud sounds softer, kind of. That's simplified. But so that's actually going to worsen the sound. The best thing that you can get is trying to get your laptop in a different space than your recording space. That's why people have recording booths, right, that are completely isolated. But even if it's like the MacBook is just like on the other side of another wall, or you put somehow stand up a blanket in between the laptop and your mic, that'll help cut it down for sure. But it is tough in a home studio environment. And in that setup that I showcased specifically, like
dolltr also mentioned that.
Yes, it's tough. But dolltr actually, we were just talking about this yesterday. She has a really cool cooling stand, but that has a fan on it. And, I don't know. I'm sure it makes a little bit of noise still. Obviously, you want the most isolated experience, I guess. It's just the struggle. If I'm making bedroom pop, if I'm making bedroom music, and I'm in my bedroom with my laptop, the fan is part of the aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? It's like vinyl crackle. Yeah. Laptop fan sound is like vinyl crackle or like tape saturation, but for the 21st century. How about that?
Yeah.
In 10 years, we're going to have fan simulator, fan emulation.
Yeah, fan plugins, all that.
What's next, Samuel?
Next thing. A tip for the community. Sun JC normally releases his news videos on Friday or Saturday, I guess.
Saturday, I believe. Yep.
But either ways, this week, so basically Kilohertz dropped the price of their synth from $100 to like 19, and then Sanjay C gave us a discount code that basically makes it free.
Boom.
So I tried that. The synth is pretty good, and
Nice.
it comes with a lot of audio effects, so that's also good.
Good tip. And if you are not subscribed to Sanjay's channel, please do. Also go check out the interview I did with Sanjay on TAETRO Talks, because he's really cool. So if you've never known him, you've only heard about him today, go watch my interview with him. It's a really good interview. You find out what he's all about, and his channel is amazing as well. Lots of good deals on his news show on Saturdays too. Good call.
Okay, next one. I don't understand why people use just this. They don't use the stock compressor. They have
I
to
use the
download
stock
another
compressor.
VST compressor for some reason.
Well, there's different. I don't know about the specific instance you're talking about. I use the stock compressor in Ableton pretty exclusively, but I also use things like OTT, which is another Ableton stock plugin. But I also have some Waves plugins where I'll use like the C6 or whatever. Like different compressors have a different character, so they'll sound different. Even though they're all compressing, they're all kind of doing the same job. They might have a different sonic character to them that people might prefer one way or the other. Also, like different bands of EQ, different bands of compression. Some compressors are reactive, so they don't engage on a frequency until, that frequency is getting hit. So you don't have this constant compression. So there's like the stock Ableton compressor is great. Glue compressor is great too, as Rev Sabes says in the chat. But it's a bit limited, which is fine if you're really just trying to do a straight compression of a sound. But if you want to get more detailed, a little more nuanced, there are more advanced tools out there. So you should look into some of that and what kind of makes those more advanced compressors tick for sure.
Yeah. And I just thought of something right now. How am I supposed to know if my headphones are accurately representing what I'm listening to? Like what I made?
Well, that is the age-old question. So like, how do you check your mixes basically is what you're asking, like through your headphones. You have to learn your headphones. So what you need to do is like listen to the music that you love listening to through those headphones and listen to it critically so that you can kind of understand like, oh, these headphones are actually like bassy, or these headphones are really crunchy in the mids or something like that. Because if that's true for the professionally recorded music that you're listening to, you have to apply that to your thinking when you're listening to your own music through those headphones. So like, for instance, if I have these really bassy headphones, right, and I'm putting 808s on a track, 808s might be coming through a little bit clearer on here than other speakers. So I have to make adjustments, not just based on what I hear in these headphones, but what I hear on other speakers too. So that's why I like testing not only on your headphones, but in a car or on big speakers, or just as many different speakers as you can try things on my AirPods, all that good stuff. Test the sound across all these different sources. And if it can sound good across all of them, great. And if you can use a reference track to kind of say like, okay, this professionally recorded track that I really like, how can I get my track to sound like that in these headphones? You know what I mean? It's all about learning those headphones. But I did an interview with Ariel Borjo, and he's a Grammy Award-winning mix engineer who loves mixing on headphones. He told me it's totally possible. He does it a lot, and he's great at it. So it is possible. You just got to learn your headphones. But it's the same thing with speakers. You got to learn your speakers. At the end of the day, somebody's going to go listen to their music on some crappy pair of earbuds that they bought at a pharmacy, and you're just going to have to like hope that it sounds good.
I'm thinking of getting monitors or like using some cheap speakers, because like the headphones, if you keep them on for too long, they start hurting. Like the pressure on your ears is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you got to find a nice, comfortable pair of headphones.
So I'm thinking of like just anything around the house.
Yep. A nice speaker.
Okay, this
will
is
do
a
you well.
weird one.
All right, last one, Samuel, because we got lots of other people waiting for a call. Make it count.
Okay, So since I got my launch key, I've been really annoyed about one thing. The cable, since I got it, did not fully like unfold, you know? Like it still has those kinks and stuff.
Yes. And you want to know how to
How
fix
do
it?
I like
You just fix it by like bending it the other way. So if it's like bent one way, then just like roll it the opposite way that it was rolled. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing, it doesn't like it goes back to its original shape. I tried with the heat gun, it kind of worked.
I think if you're
But
spending this much
still
time on the
really
cable, you're not spending enough time making the music, to be honest. That sounds like a time waster. You took a heat
I
gun
don't
to
know.
the cable?
I didn't melt it. It just like because I saw on online. So I was like, why not try it? It didn't damage the cable at all.
I think you'll be fine. That's my advice.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you for calling in,
thank you
Samuel.
for today's call.
Yes, of
It was
course.
nice.
We'll do this again soon, I'm sure. Do you want to sign off for us?
This has been Samuel. Have a good one.
Nice to talk to you later, Samuel.
You too. Bye.
We love Samuel's regular call-ins. I got mad people in this waiting room, folks, so if you want to get in, now is the time because we're going to run out of time. I can already tell. Not most calls go that long, but Samuel is a regular caller. But how are we doing, chat? Chat is having a great time. People laughing at my pharmacy headphones comment. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. I'm going to keep going. I got Jay Scholes in the chat. Let's get him. Hope you all are having a great day. A lot of viewers. Make sure you check the links in the description. Follow me on Spotify. Check out 343labs.com. All that good stuff. Jay Scholes, how is it going?
Hey, how's it going, TAETRO? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing my best. I know you've called in before. Can you remind the chat where you're calling in from today?
Oh, yeah, I'm calling in from good old Kansas City.
Oh, boy. How are things in Kansas City today?
Slow going, good weather. Wish I was fishing.
That's
Best
what
I
I like
could
to
say.
hear. Awesome. What you got for me today?
Just had a couple things I wanted to pick your brain about.
Sure.
First off, hey, Samuel, thank you, man. That's a good kid, man. A lot of good questions. I wish, when he gets on, he would, plug his YouTube channel. I would like to check out his music and
For sure.
some of the things he has going on.
He's got a really cool Instagram. If you all check out Samuel Messiah. Samuel, maybe if you put it in the chat, people can go follow. But he's a really cool kid to follow because, like, if I was that young and like that, like into this stuff and like taking it as seriously as he is as a young kid, I'd be miles ahead of where I am today. So definitely a kid to watch.
Man. Definitely. I wanted to, touch on some of the things he was talking about. Sanjay C, man, his channel is pretty good, informative, but
Sure.
I think just the value, like I've been rolling with Ableton Live, but I didn't have the key, even though I bought the Akai Mini 3, it didn't come with an Ableton Live Lite key.
Right.
I was checking out one of his videos, I think a couple weeks ago, and sure enough, he had a link to somewhere where you could, get some free plugins, sign up, and you got an Ableton, Live Lite key.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point that out.
There's so many
not
great
to-
free resources. Like if you need Ableton Live Lite, like there's so many like sources to get it from out there for sure.
Oh yeah. But one of the big questions I wanted to ask you is, well, let me just say this: I'm terrified to release any of my music or things that I've so far learned and progressed and done, just because I still have not overcame the fear of the negativity that I might receive.
What's
which
the
I
worst thing that could happen?
Exactly. What what's the worst thing that could happen? And I know I'm just going to read that one comment that might set me wrong or make me rethink life.
Yeah.
But I know it's neither here or there.
But
I haven't entertained that yet, and I was kind of curious. How did you first come out and decide to make that leap to
I think
display it?
it's weird. I've been making music since I was a teenager, and I put out some crap when I was like a younger kid. And
Right.
but at the time, it was literally the best that I could do with what I had. And I knew that. I I think people get caught up in the idea that they have to like make like these radio friendly, radio quality, like this radio quality stuff. But the only way that becomes an issue is if you try to put out like just stuff that is at the level that you can do. Like it might not be fully professional level, but it's the best that you can do. If you put that level stuff out, but you try to market yourself as this big shot, like as this expert, as this whatever, then people are turned off by that. But if you like put yourself out there authentically as a growing artist, as like this is where I am in my journey, and this is what I'm making, and this is what I can do, people are a lot nicer than you expect. And I would say my trajectory as an artist, I've only gotten like better at making music. Like that's what happens. If you just keep working, you just continue to improve skills and get better. So my audience has grown, but the negative people, like they don't go away. Like there's always going to be like people who are just like down on themselves and down in their lives, right? And use the internet as an outlet for that and try to like kind of bring people down to that level. So like just forgetting about that, because like I get like the more subscribers I get, the more views that I get, the more negative comments I get. And it is really easy to get caught up in a negative comment, even if I get 10 positive comments and 1 negative comment. I can get hung up on a negative comment. But the sooner you start building up that thicker skin, you realize like it's like I said, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody tells you suck. Who cares? Are you having fun? Are you growing? Like what does it matter? Art is subjective anyway. So like, even if you make the best piece of music ever to be made, there's still going to be haters. Like I'm sure if I go on a Beethoven like YouTube video, there's going to be people like, this guy sucks. You know, like it doesn't matter. It happens to everybody. But the reason I say don't be afraid to put stuff out is because you need to develop that thick skin soon. Like while you have a smaller audience, while you have a smaller group of people that are engaged by your authenticity, but that are pretty much more likely to be nicer than to be mean. And any feedback you get will likely be constructive at this level too. And if somebody tells you suck, you go make music right off of reading that. Like you use that as motivation. Like, so like this guy thinks I suck. I think it's pretty good. Does he have a couple points about X, Y, and Z? Or is he just trying to be like a jerk? Like you have to suss that out. Yeah, exactly. And you can suss that out because there's going to be people who seem like trolls, but are actually giving good feedback in a bad package. And that's the hardest stuff to deal with. But the sooner you get stuff out there and develop that thick skin, like you just gotta just put it out there. Take that leap, right? Just take the leap. Yeah.
Man, okay. That's good. My other question, I know there's other people want to call in. I'm kind of getting held up as far as my music production because I got this weird little troll sitting in the back of my head that's saying, well, this has been done. Well, it sounds too much like this. Or, well, you're doing this. And to give you an example, there's a comedian by the name of Bo Burnham that does a lot of musical comedy, right?
I'm familiar, yeah.
But he did a bit about country songs.
Sure.
And he sang a country song that I promise it sounded like every country song.
Yeah.
But the idea of what he did is like he used, the same keywords or the same samples or the same instruments or the same chord progressions, and it all sounded the same. Like it was so comical that there was another song that someone had made a comment of that when I listened to that song, it sounded identical of what Bo Burnham's joke was. Like it was the same key, same chord progression, same musical tone, same vibes. And I feel like I'm not 100% sure of who I am yet. I'm just learning. So I don't know what direction I want to go through. But my question, I guess, would be, how do you define yourself as an artist and be different from the pack, but then you're still restricted to the same, musical theory. You're still restricted to the chord progression. You're still restricted to, there's only certain ways you can use a French horn, or there's only certain sounds you can have a drum tone. But how does it feel easier or more comfortable to put your stamp of approval on your own music when a lot of the things, could remind you or might be influenced of someone else's musical pieces. It's
I
very
got you.
strange.
Yeah. You ever been to a furniture store? Like, you ever had to
I
buy
have.
furniture?
Absolutely.
How many different kinds of chairs? Like, you ever been to IKEA and there's like 30 different kinds of chairs at an IKEA?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So if those people who make chairs said, like, that's chairs. Like, how long have chairs been around? Since we've been in caves? Since we've been sitting on
Right.
rocks? If those people making chairs said, nah, it's all been done before. Like, I don't want to make chairs anymore. Like, what can I do differently, you know? And you know what? Some of
Right,
those
right.
chairs all look the same, but they're different somehow. They're minorly different. The detail, the length of the legs, the height of the seat, whatever it is. All those chairs are different, and people still make chairs. It's 2020. You got new chairs coming out every single day.
Right.
As musicians, we are not reinventing the wheel. That is that is projected from, I think, the music education industry, where there's this really toxic idea that if you're not doing something brand spanking new, like Frank Zappa type shit, that
Yes.
you're not like progressing anything. And that's all bullshit, because at the end of the day, music is about self-expression. Music is about it's about being an outlet. It's about like making art. So like the best advice I can give you for being original is taking inspiration from lots of different sources and combining into something new. And I talk about this all the time. Like, I listen to a lot of pop, like rock music. I love bands like the 1975, but I also like a lot of like trap music. I love like a little bit of R&B stuff. I love 90s stuff. And then I love the electronic stuff. If I can take some combination of all those things and throw it into a blender, it's going to be something uniquely me at the end of the day. It's not going to be something completely new. It's not going to be something like, this is a new genre, whatever. At times you have artists that do that, and that always is going to happen by accident almost. That's never going to happen intentionally. That happens from putting all the different ingredients in the blender, and you take a sip of the smoothie and you're like, oh, I've never tasted this before. Let's make this smoothie the thing. You know what I mean? Or like, but yeah, the idea that you have to create something brand spanking new, like just to bring it back to like this band that I really like, the 1975, they've got songs on their latest album. Like the opening song is like a metal, like super heavy song. And then they've got songs that are like making me nostalgic for like 90s, like rock pop stuff. And it all takes references, but it's just what you make and what comes out of you at the time. And you don't got to prove yourself to anybody that you're this new inventor. That's like a super like beginner mindset that if you look at the music industry, like look at whoever is being successful in the music industry in whatever genre you like right now, are they doing something that you have literally never heard before? I can guarantee you that they are doing some part of what they're doing is familiar. Whether it's like, yeah, those drums are trap beats, but they mix it up with some cool R&B chords, or like, oh, they used a rock band like ensemble, like guitar, drum kit, whatever, but they've got a rapper on top, or you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? Like there's something familiar in everything.
Absolutely.
And it comes down to that blender idea. Take all your influences, throw them in a blender, and you get the Jay Shoals smoothie at the end of the day. And as long as you're being true to yourself in that, and it's not like, if you're not copying somebody, who cares? All these songs have the same chord progressions. I'm tired of people like saying like, oh, I've heard that chord progression before. I've heard this and I've heard that. Yeah, that's the game. That's how this works. You know, like, and only beginners say that. If you notice, only beginners or people in like higher music ed say that. Like you don't see any artist on any interview or anything saying stuff like that. So
absolutely. And yeah, I'm a true beginner, but man, it's so weird. And I'll end on this is that, you know, when you take the music theory classes or when you take classes from a producer, like there's a written rule or a written book that, you know, this is the idea behind this is why we go in this direction. But at the same time, man, if you sit back and look, you're like, man, everybody's doing this. Or a perfect example, Andrew Wang, right? He did a video where he showed that there was one key that was very popular in pop.
Yeah, the super
And it was
tonic,
one
and then you
key.
you take all
Right.
those The Weeknd song. Is The Weeknd is one of the like most successful music artists right now, right?
Right.
And he's not having this mental break of like, oh God, I'm using this same pattern. I'm using the super tonic. Like he's not thinking like that.
Right.
The high level, like professional musicians are not thinking about this stuff. They're just making the music that comes out and putting it out. And that authenticity, like we talked about that before, authenticity, when that comes through, people are attracted to that. No matter how advanced your music theory stuff is, no matter how like technically skilled you are, you being an authentic artist, putting out self-expression in an authentic way, in a believable way. Like when I look at you as an artist and I see you performing and I see you doing whatever, I'm like, oh, that's real. That's not put on. That's not manufactured. No matter what the language of it is, genre-wise, technique-wise, whatever. When that authenticity comes through, people are attracted to that. That is the honed in like nucleus of it all. It doesn't matter. All the stuff around it is just window dressing.
Okay.
And you know what? It's
Man.
a lot harder to make music that people can connect with. Like Frank Zappa's stuff, a lot of it is garbage because you can't even connect to it because it's so out there. So it's a great like thought experiment. And then like the stuff like John Cage, where it's like silence, is like, okay, I get it. Or the stuff where he's like chopping a piano on stage with an axe. Like, okay, I get it. But like, I'm not connecting to that music. And there's so much music out there that is so technically driven and so rooted in, look at me, look how well I know music theory, that like, it's just a flex. It's just a knowledge flex. It's not about making art that's relatable. So that's what it is. Like art, like this is a human thing. I talked about cavemen already, but like we were chanting in caves and vocalizing before we knew crap about music theory. And it was about the feeling. It was about emotion. It was about like gathering together. Just for, you know, like you can improve your technical skills always. And you can improve like your understanding of the language of music always and become more fluent. And make more advanced stuff. But if at the end of the day, you're just showing off like how good you are at, you know, playing this, you know, obscure scale or this obscure mode or this obscure chord progression, nobody cares. Like, well, no, you know who cares? People that go to music school, because that's all that people in music school care about.
Absolutely.
You got me going on a rant, Jay, but that's where I stand.
Yeah. You actually, you answered my question. It's so as I'm a beginner and I'm getting into it, all of the teachings and the learnings and the watching that I've seen always led to the proper etiquette and the technical verse of music.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you're so right. And that's why, man, I probably watched the Andrew Wang video on the Supertonic 1,000 times, trying to understand how are these people making millions of dollars just using the Supertonic. But you're right, man. Now that I can look at it, it's not that they're going for that or that they have that and they're building their songs or their musical production around the Supertonic. It's just that that's a popular trend. It's very catchy, but they can get their voices and their musical inspiration out there around and utilizing that like a tool versus a written rule.
Right.
And I think that's where I've been stuck at, because I've learning music on paper and in books and through lectures is a heck of a lot different from taking the tools and using them to be inspirational and different. And it's very hard for us new learners and new beginners to decipher the difference. There's a proper way to do it, but
100% right. And I'll leave you with this, Jay. I went to 4 years of a college music program. 4 years, graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Music. 90% of what I needed to know, of what I had to learn to do what I do now, to make music like I do now, I learned outside of the college, outside of the time spent studying, outside of the classes, outside of all that. 90% of what I know. Because because the practical skills don't get taught in formal settings. And the music education system attempts to ignore the music industry somehow. I don't, it's the only, I can't think of another subsection of culture that does that. You look at any other program, graphic designers, you go to school for graphic design, you're learning how to design logos with modern trends so you can get a job in the modern graphic design industry. The music education side of things balks at that and kind of just exists in its own world, devoid of the actual industry that's happening because it feels like it's above it. So that mindset, that like being above modern music is the stuff that kind of keeps especially beginners and amateurs like in negative mindsets about like, oh, why would I bother doing this music? Because it's been done before. Like nobody, who cares? Like that, like forget all that. Look at the professionals in the industry and see what they're doing. Follow that pathway, especially if you want to be successful in the industry. Like, if you want to make the music that you love and that you hear, you got to follow what those artists are doing, not what some textbook tells you to do.
Right. Man, I appreciate it, Tetro. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot, and great video.
You got me fired up. Thank you so much for that call. That was a good one.
Hey, no worries. All right, talk to you later, man. Listening.
Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Woo, that one got me fired up. Chat, can you tell? We'll definitely clip that. I know you guys like that little rant. I feel like I was rambling a little bit, but because that stuff gets me fired up. All right, people are tagging me in chat. What are they saying? All right, people are vibing with what I was saying. Where do you recommend beginners study music opposed to taking college classes for years? Good question by King Tut. Listen up, King Tut. The best advice I could have for you is you need to, I feel like a broken record saying this over and over again. Go on your Spotify, go on your Apple Music, go on your SoundCloud. And instead of listening to music like a music listener, you're going to listen to it like you're a music producer, like you're a musician, and you're going to reverse and engineer every part of that song that you hear. From the chords to what the drums are doing to the arrangement, you're going to just parse it out, like deconstruct that song in your brain, and then figure out what skills you need to know to recreate something similar. So like that's very simple when it comes down to chords. Like you might need some like basic keyboarding skills that you can find on YouTube or that you can find via an app. And you learn to play chord progressions. You look up the chord progression for the song and you look at it and you say, wow, I don't know how to read this. I don't know what any of these letters or whatever numbers mean. I need to figure out how to do that. And then you build that skill. Like you need to like reach for the skills on the shelf and just the ones that you need, because the problem with following a textbook, and I just threw the link up in the chat because I think some people got kicked from the waiting room. But if you want to join that waiting room, get in now. The thing about textbook learning and stuff like that is it follows a path, a very rigid path that doesn't necessarily give you the skills to do what you want to do. It might have some. There might be bits and pieces within that textbook that are very valuable, and I think that's true for most things. But if you try to follow it chapter by chapter by chapter in sequential order, it doesn't work for us musicians because you might learn those chords and the next thing you need to know is like how to make awesome drum rhythms, but then they're going on to teaching you about vocal melodies and you're like, well, I don't want vocal melodies. That stuff. We live in a world where you can go on YouTube and type, or you can go into Google and type in like how to play chords like The Weeknd or like any artist that you like, insert there and you can find it. You guys got to learn to just Google stuff. I see stuff in my comments every day. Not only do I see comments that people should have typed into Google rather than into my comment section, but I see comments of folks that are asking questions that are answered in the video. And that's how I know folks are not going deeper enough and kind of want an easy answer and want a fast way. And that just doesn't exist. Like the more time you spend trying to do something an easy way. I tweeted about this the other day. There's no easy way. If you try to find the easy way and you spend a lot of time trying to do something an easy way or a shortcut, the only thing that's going to happen is after that time you just spent trying to find a shortcut is you're going to have wasted a bunch of time because you're going to realize you had to do it the right way anyway. There's shortcuts in things. Sure. There's shortcuts in some instances. Absolutely. But to do things right, like people didn't get to where they are, like whoever you look up to, whether it's a musician, whether it's an artist, whether it's a whatever, people don't get where they're at just by taking shortcuts. People put in the work. The problem is what we normally see is about, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about, chat? What we normally see, that's what I was going to say, is the end product, right? We see the epic track. We see the track at #1 on the Billboard charts. We see the epic performance video. And we don't see the hours and hours and hours of preparation that went into doing that. The hours of practice. I did an interview with artist Neon Vines. If some of you know who she is, she's a really amazing performer. Uses the keyboard and MPC at the same time, finger drumming, playing notes, crazy stuff. And you look at one of her videos and it looks absolutely effortless. But what she told me on that interview, and any of you struggling with this should check out that interview. Just type in Neon Vines TAETRO Talks into YouTube. You should watch that interview because she talks about spending a month rehearsing that track to make one video, to do one performance video. And then not only spending that 1 month practicing and perfecting it, getting it on the day in video and just trying to nail it right for a whole day. So a whole month of practice leading up to a whole day of shooting, getting it out there. Don't be confused. If you see stuff and it looks easy, it's not easy. You got to read between the lines. You got to look behind the scenes. You got to know that it's not easy at all. Okay, I think I accidentally messed up my Zoom thing, so I messed up the things for the calls. Oh, dolltr is watching in the 343 chat. I just noticed that I had 343 chat up. Thank you, dolltr. Dolltr said go off about Googling. Yes, I think it's tough. I have empathy for people, though, who need answers and haven't built that relationship yet with Googling and finding answers for themselves, though, because it can be quite daunting. Because a lot of the times I'm looking for an answer on the internet, I'm Googling, and I have to find it. I have to Google the question a very specific way or use certain words. There's a lot to learn when it comes to Googling. But Googling and being able to find answers has made me a lot of money. So if you can get good at it, you can. There's a consulting career for you out there. Yes, thank you all for the kind words in this chat. Jay Good, thank you. I know you're hanging out in the 343 Labs chat. Appreciate you. Yes, lots of good stuff. And now that dolltr's in the chat, I do want to say, as she said in the 343 chat, that there are other music programs out there. There are comparatively forward-thinking contemporary music programs out there. I think they've all got a little bit of DNA of being slightly dated and slightly cliquey. I don't know if cliquey is the word. Elitist, slightly. I think there is an elitist DNA running through most music schools around. But we live in a time where you can be super selective about how you get educated musically, and the program you go to. So I wouldn't recommend anybody go to the college that I went to if you want to do what I do. Even though end result, I guess that says you can go wherever and do whatever you want. Let's get Devin in here on a call. Oof, we're fired up. What happened? What happened, chat? How did we get this fired up? Thank you all for tuning in for TAETRO Talks. Appreciate you all. Devin, we were just going to chat. You bailed. It's okay. Call back in if you want. I'm not going to say this as an ad read, but we are brought to you by 343 Labs literally today. And that's the thing that's going to blow off the lid of higher education is places like 343 Labs, which there's a link in the description, where if you want to learn music production, music theory, mixing and mastering, et cetera, you can do that a la carte at a place like 343 Labs. Not only can you do that, you're not learning with some professor that's worked at a school for, X amount of years and is tenured or whatever, and that's kind of all they got to their name. You're learning with expert instructors who have been touring musicians, Beatport charting musicians, Ableton Certified Trainers, professional live playback engineers, all that good stuff. So 343labs.com, if that's interesting to you, the link is in the description. There's bundles, all that good stuff. I think you all should check it out because that's going to blow the lid off of higher ed, I think. Nina asks, what headphones is TAETRO wearing? I am wearing the JBL Club Ones. I did a deal with JBL. I did some photo content for them, actually, and they sent me these. And these are probably my favorite headphones right now. But they were sent to me, and I was paid to take photos and stuff with them. So keep that in mind. But I have a lot of different headphones. I have the Status Audio CB1s, which are fine. I have my AIs. These are like modular custom built headphones. They're a little harsh in the mids. These, nice round bass, nice clear highs. They also have noise canceling and Bluetooth. So I find myself using them a lot, especially for travel and flights and all that good stuff. What else? If you had a question in the chat and I did not answer it, feel free to throw it in. We'll do a couple questions from chat before we end here because everybody got kicked out of my Zoom waiting room for some reason. I'll drop that if anybody wants to make a last minute attempt to call. Yeah. What does Noel say? Noel says, most things you say, like Googling for answers, being selective about your education applies a lot of areas besides music. Computer science, programming comes to mind, etc. Yeah, I'm sure this is true for many, many different industries. Nazara says, thoughts on Aftertouch worthwhile these days? Not for me. I don't really find... I have some Aftertouch controllers and I don't really ever use it that much. Maybe I just don't know about it, enough about it, so I'm underutilizing it. But I don't know, it's kind of like MPE. Like you have to have an instance to use it. Like specifically, I don't know. That's just me. For some folks, some like super like into synths and stuff, maybe if it matters to you, you know what I mean? Like my opinion doesn't really matter on that. If you see an artist and they're using Aftertouch and you're like, that's dope, I want to do that, then you should get it. Samuel asks, is the mic that comes with the Scarlet Studio bundle durable? I'm not sure, Samuel, but if it's made by Focusrite, I would trust it. TAETRO, what kind of soundproofing and sound treatment do you have in your studio? Asks Falguna. Not much, to be honest. I have some random, like, kind of thin panels to my left. This is a very small room, you guys should say. So, like, where the camera is right now, it's, like, almost at the wall. It's, like, 2 feet away from the wall. This room is about 8 by 7. I've got a couple aesthetic panels up that make it so the wall's not completely flat. I've got some styrofoam on my ceiling. I've clearly got a lot of stuff behind me. There's like a shelf over here. So there's lots of stuff that's making the walls not perfectly flat and parallel, which is helping with some of the reflection. But there's definitely reflection in here, and I can hear it. I can hear it now when I'm talking. I think the SM7B probably does a good job of not showing off the reflections, but all that. I think I've never cared too much about soundproofing. I should put a little more effort in, but one day, when I want to spend a little more money. It can be expensive. King Tut, how long did it take you to make my first beat on the Akai MPK Mini Mark III video? If I think of the video that you're talking about, it's a video where I'm like outside. Oh yeah, that's the video. It did not take me long. My beat making process is really, really refined, so I can make videos like that really easily. What I do is I can spend like maybe an hour like making the beat, figuring out what I'm going to play. I do that first before cameras roll or anything. So like that's basically me coming up with the ideas and me practicing, because when we get on video, like I'm going to play the ideas again, and I'm not just miming them, I'm recording the musical ideas while the video is recording. So what you hear is exactly what you see me playing. Everything matches up perfectly, of course, in that case. So maybe it takes an hour to make the beat, get the ideas down. And then in terms of shooting, it takes a lot less time to shoot in that case. 30 minutes of shooting, just bouncing around like different areas, doing a different part in a different area, shoot the drums over by like the waterfall or whatever, go over to like another seating section and shoot the keyboard parts and just move around. That process takes maybe half hour, 45 minutes, because doing like four bar or 8 bar ideas in each different location, set up the camera, hit record the idea. Beat's already made, so I don't have to come up with musical ideas in that moment. So I'm basically just replaying something that I've already written. Anon Banks asks, I'm 13. Should I learn piano to make beats first or electric guitar because I really like it? You have me torn there, Anon Banks. First thing I'll say is, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both of them? First of all, the thing that excites me is you said, I want to learn electric guitar because I really like it. Epic. Then you should absolutely do electric guitar. Piano will serve you very well if you want to get into music production, to make beats, of course, because so many controllers are keyboard based. And I just think being able to see music that way through the lens of a keyboard, through the context of a keyboard, is pretty helpful. But learning guitar, if you love it, do it. But there's no reason that you can't do both. That's what I say. Is there a disadvantage if I use a XY mic instead of a condenser mic for vocals or acoustic guitar? I don't know what you mean by XY mic. I think maybe you mean something like this. Well, you want, if you're recording vocals or something, you want it pointed directly at the speaker. I could make that work with this. Do the best you can with what you got, I think. But a condenser, like different microphones have different characteristics. A condenser is going to be nice and bright. I mean, that's a condenser microphone in that thing. You can make it work for sure. Do the best that you can with what you've got. What else? So Harsh, how do you come up with musical ideas? Oh God, I scrolled down in the chat and it disappeared. It's gone. So many questions. Thank you for tagging me though, because it makes it orange in my chat so I can actually read it. Okay, there's a question about Aftertouch. It's the soundproofing. Awesome. We're going to stay on for about 5 more minutes, so I'm going to take as many last minute questions as possible. And then we're going to move on. Mark Willie says, any genre that you haven't produced but you would love to give it a try? That's hard to say. There's nothing I'm like yearning to produce, but I have a background in like rock, like pop punk kind of music. And I would like to revisit that at some point. I think there's going to be a time for that. Might not be right now, but more songwritery stuff for sure. Where can I find a free or low cost online class for Ableton Live 10 and Novation Launch Key? YouTube.com. That's where. Nina, greetings from Germany. Awesome. Greetings from California to Germany. Thank you for tuning in. Falguna says, I love your space. Thank you. I did the most that I could with this tiny little box of a space. I can't believe I lost that question completely. So Harsh, if you can write it again, that'd be helpful. What are your views on Serato Sample LE? I have not tried it, but I saw that Sarah, the instrumentalist, was using it, so it must be cool. Prod by STK says, coffee or tea? Today, right now it's coffee. Right now it's tea because it's up early. So I already had coffee today and I try to pace myself with the coffee or else I get like really anxious, like amped up. Not really amped up. It doesn't energize me. It just like makes me anxious basically. So I try to pace myself throughout the day with the coffee. Red Syrup, how did you get the idea of Beattober? Is there some story behind it? Actually, there's a challenge that existed before Beattober called Inktober that a lot of artists do where they do like a sketch a day in the month of October. And I thought that Beattober was a good musical application to that. Totally. Yo, at TAETRO, would you ever use a VR or mixed reality MIDI controller? I would love to try that for sure. I don't even know what that would look like, but I think it would be fun. Jeremy B, how do you stop overthinking everything in your projects? You got to think about your time investment, and if spending 45 more minutes on a track is going to make the difference between the hi-hats are a little less loud or the hi-hats are like EQ'd slightly differently and the average person isn't going to notice it, that 45 minutes probably wasn't worth it, especially if you're limited on time. So stop overthinking by realizing that none of it matters. Just put it out, get the feedback. The next thing you do will improve. You're always on to the next thing. Samuel says, I am too addicted to coffee. Yes, I am too addicted to coffee. Thank you, Adyata. I appreciate you. Have a good day and night yourself. I am addicted to coffee, guys. It's a problem. But that's like my one vice. So I'm proud about that. Oh, we have somebody in the waiting room. My Zoom link is working. Amazing. Okay, so Harsh, I saw your question again, and I just took the call. So I will grab this call, and this is how we'll round out the show. Answer those final questions. R. Siller, make sure you select the proper microphone so we can hear you. And then once you do that, I will take your question. So Harsh says, how do you come up with new musical ideas? Like in your live streams, you come up with an amazing beat in like a half an hour. That's because I don't overthink it. I don't second guess. I use my instincts. I do the first few ideas that come to mind. I flesh out ideas. If I could hear something in my head or if I can play something and it's close to something I think sounds good, then I go with it. I don't second guess. I just keep moving. Instinct. Build up. That's the whole thing about Beattober. Like if you build up those instincts and you get yourself doing it quickly, you don't waste time. And when you don't waste time, you don't have time to second guess yourself. That is the biggest pro about doing that. How do you, Red Syrup Music asks, how do you know that how many sounds to put in a track? Like, when do you know it's enough? I stop when it's too much and I take things away. Like, a good way to test that is, like, say you have a track and all the instruments and stuff are on and they're firing and they're playing. If you can take things out and it actually relieves your ears, or if you can take things out and you don't actually notice that you took them out, it's a good idea to just take that stuff out or build a section that features that part with other things taken out. But like, you guys see some of my projects. Some of my projects are 5 to 6 to 7 tracks. Simple elements. You got, like, I really look at it like it's a band. Like, because of like my rock or whatever pop punk music background, you have your drummer, you have maybe 1 or 2 guitar players, you have a bass, you have a singer, maybe you have a keyboard player, and they all have very specific jobs. So apply that to beat making. Or even if you don't have that rock background, look at an orchestra. Orchestra's way more people, a lot of folks playing in unison in different parts, but like, what role is every instrument playing? The flute and the tuba are not playing the same role. You got to think about what roles all your instruments are playing and if they have their own place. Hayden says, I don't make music, but that's how my favorite paintings come to life. Just go for it and see where it goes. And that's like art at its purest form, right? Like, just making stuff. I guess we do not have a call. I don't know what's happening with Zoom. It could be my issue. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Yes, that's good advice. Good questions today, chat. I appreciate you all. Deyolo Bros asks, what is the best free plugin for Ableton Live Lite? If you're asking that question, the stock plugins. QWERTY Boy Now. I recently started producing, and by exploring, I know I am improving, but I feel like I can't get the right way to go around. I try making beats, but they don't go with each other. That's okay. Keep experimenting. Do that for a bit. What you want to end up doing is honing your style, and that comes from really analyzing your influences and understanding like what kind of music you actually want to make. This question I don't know how to answer. How do I get vocalists if I can't? How do I get vocals if I can't use Splice in my country? You get a microphone or use your phone microphone and you record your voice or you record your friend's voice. You find a singer that you think is pretty good and you record their voice, and then you mess with it in Ableton Live. I think that's the move. It's been a great stream, everybody. I think we're coming to an end though. I hope you guys like the way this is set up. I rearranged the shelves. I took down the Halloween decorations. It was a 50-50 on that Instagram poll, by the way, if you follow it on Instagram. You guys can see a little bit more of the set with the cameras a little bit further back. I hope you like that. I'm working on getting a second PC. Well, I have my second PC. I have that set up. And I want to stream off the PC and have the Mac just dedicated to the Ableton and music stuff. So that is in the works, constantly improving the streaming setup, hopefully. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. You guys had great questions. I'm sorry. I see there's a couple more in the chat. Hopefully I'll leave the stream up with the end screen so y'all can discuss amongst yourselves, but y'all have been great with answering each other's questions, the ones that I can't get to, and I appreciate that. If you want to call into a future show, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, because we will definitely do call-in shows in the future, potentially bring back Mentor Monday and all that good stuff. 343, it's really important to me, though, that you go to 343 Labs YouTube channel, youtube.com/343labs. And Daltrick says, when can we look forward to a new TAETRO track? Soon. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, please go to the channel, 343 Labs. Type it in on YouTube. Subscribe. Turn notifications on for that channel, because there are great tutorials every single day. A lot of you had questions that can be answered on the streams that are happening on 343 TV. And I think that's the way to go. Falguna, you got to turn on notifications. That's how you know when the next stream will be. I'll do my best. I don't have a schedule, but I do plan to do a lot more streaming soon in the future, making that a kind of a bigger part of the next couple months. But yeah, we're going to have Daltrick on next week. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Do we lock that in, Daltrick? I hope so. Or I'm going to have Claire on next week, I should say. And that'll be fun. We're going to talk all about Beattober, And maybe if I can get the tech right, we can take calls, and both Claire and I can answer the calls. That'll be fun. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another TAETRO Talks. Watch this later if you tuned in late. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you engage with it so people can watch it, because a lot of times live streams that go back up on the channel don't get as much traction. You got me coffee, prod by STK. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for listening. I never know how to end these things. It's always awkward. You all are great. Great questions. Hope that I was helpful. Go back and rewatch if there's an answer you need to hear for yourself again. Check out the podcast feed if you want to hear more advice like this, because I've been clipping sections just like this. If you guys loved that rant earlier, that's in the podcast feed. So look up TAETRO Radio on your podcast platform of choice. I use Spotify, and you will find the podcast there, along with great interviews and then great clips from different streams. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.